You've been talking all your life to friends, to strangers, to people who barely listen. You explain yourself, defend yourself, and express yourself to the world. But there is someone you rarely speak to, someone who has been waiting in silence, carrying everything you've never said. That someone is your soul. Most people think the spiritual path is about listening. Listening to the inner voice, listening to intuition, listening to the whispers of the heart. And yes, that matters. But here's what almost everyone misses. Your soul is not just speaking to you. Your soul is also listening for you. It is waiting to hear your voice. And until you speak to it, truly speak to it, the conversation remains incomplete. Think about this. When was the last time you spoke directly to your own being? Not thinking about yourself, not analyzing your problems, not talking to others about your life, but actually speaking inward, addressing the one who lives behind your eyes, the one who feels everything you feel, the one who has been with you since the beginning. Your soul carries weight, the weight of every truth you swallowed instead of speaking, every feeling you buried because it wasn't safe to express, every moment you silenced yourself to fit in, to survive, to be accepted. All of that is still there, waiting, not to be analyzed, not to be understood, but to be spoken to be acknowledged, to be seen. When you learn to speak to your soul, something miraculous happens. Healing begins. Not the kind of healing that comes from medicine or time, but the healing that comes from completion, from finally saying what was never said, from breaking the silence that has kept your pain locked inside. Imagine a child sitting alone at a window, waiting for a parent to come home. Days pass, weeks, years. The child is still there, still waiting, not for food, not for gifts, just to hear their names spoken with love. Your soul is that child, and you are the one it has been waiting for. In this talk, I will show you how to speak to your soul, not as a technique, not as a practice you add to your routine, but as the most intimate conversation you will ever have. The conversation that changes everything. You will learn what your soul needs to hear, the words that unlock what has been trapped, the truth that sets you free. You will discover why speaking inward is more powerful than any outward expression. And you will see how healing happens naturally when you stop abandoning yourself and start including yourself in your own life. The world has taught you to speak to everyone except the one who matters most. It's time to change that. It's time to speak to your soul. And when you do, watch what happens. Watch how the heaviness lifts. Watch how clarity arrives. Watch how you finally come home to yourself. You were not always silent with yourself. There was a time when you spoke to your soul naturally without even knowing you were doing it. Every child does this. They talk to themselves. They express feelings freely. They say what they feel the moment they feel it. There is no filter, no shame, no holding back. The inner and outer voices are one. But then something happened. You were taught to be quiet, stop crying, stop being so sensitive, stop talking to yourself. People will think you're strange. Grow up, be reasonable, keep it together. One by one, the doors to honest expression began to close. And in that closing, you learned to speak to the world but forgot how to speak to yourself. You became fluent in explaining your life to others. You learned the language of performance, how to sound fine when you're breaking, how to smile when you want to scream, how to say the right thing even when it's not the true thing. You mastered the art of outward conversation, but the inward conversation stopped. And here's what happened in that silence. Everything you didn't say piled up inside. The grief you couldn't express, the anger you had to swallow, the fear you weren't allowed to show, the exhaustion you couldn't admit. All of it stayed locked in your body, in your chest, in the corners of your being. Unspoken, unacknowledged, unfelt. Your soul became like a forgotten friend, still there, still present, but no longer included in your life. You stopped checking in. You stopped asking how it feels. You stopped saying the truth out loud, even to yourself. And in that abandonment, a split happened. You are on the outside, moving through the world. And you on the inside, carrying everything in silence. Look at how you live now. You speak to everyone. You text, you call, you post, you comment. You fill the air with words. You explain yourself to people who barely care. You share your thoughts with strangers on screens. But when was the last time you sat alone and spoke honestly to the one who is always listening? Your own soul. The noise you create outward is not a connection. It's avoidance. It's running from the one conversation you're afraid to have. The conversation with yourself. Because that conversation requires truth. And truth is uncomfortable. Truth means feeling what you've been avoiding. Truth means admitting what you've been denying. Most people think healing comes from outside. From therapy, from advice, from someone else telling them what's wrong and how to fix it. They think time heals. They think distance helps. They think if they just keep busy enough, keep moving enough, the pain will fade. But it doesn't fade. It just gets buried deeper. Here's what they don't understand. Healing is not something done to you. Healing is something that happens through you. And it begins the moment you stop avoiding yourself and start speaking to yourself. Your soul doesn't need to be fixed. It doesn't need a solution. It needs to be spoken to. It needs to hear your voice saying, I see you. I feel you. I am here. Think of it like this. Imagine you wrote a letter years ago. A letter filled with everything you truly felt. But you never sent it. You folded it up and hid it in a drawer. You forgot about it. But the letter is still there. And the feelings in that letter are still waiting. Not to be read by someone else, but to be spoken by you. To be released into the air. To finally move. That's what's happening inside you right now. Some things have never been said. Not to others. Not even to yourself. And those unsaid things are the weight you carry. The tightness in your chest. The exhaustion that won't leave. The feeling that something is stuck. You can't think your way out of this. You can't analyze it away. You can't read enough books or listen to enough talks to release what's inside. There's only one way through. You have to speak, not to the world, to yourself. You have to open your mouth or your heart or your mind and say the truth, directly, honestly, to the one who has been waiting to hear it. Your soul is not silent. It has been listening all along. It's you who has gone quiet. And until you break that silence, until you speak to the one inside, the conversation that could heal you will never begin. Now, Let me tell you something that will change how you see this. Speaking to your soul is not what you think it is. This is not positive affirmations. This is not standing in front of a mirror saying, I am strong, I am worthy, I am enough. That's performance. That's trying to convince yourself of something your heart doesn't believe yet. That's the mind talking to the mind, and the mind doesn't heal the soul. This is also not talking to yourself like a motivational speaker. It's not pumping yourself up. It's not giving yourself advice. It's not trying to fix or improve or change yourself. All of that is still the ego, still trying to control, still avoiding the real conversation. Speaking to your soul is intimate. It's honest. It's raw. It's the kind of conversation you would have with someone you love deeply, someone you've hurt, someone you've neglected, and you're finally sitting down to tell them the truth. There's no pretending, no performance, just truth. So what does your soul need to hear? It needs to hear the things you've never said, even to yourself, especially to yourself. It needs you to acknowledge what has been ignored, to name what has been hidden, to speak the feeling that has no words but desperately needs a voice. Your soul needs to hear, I see you hurting, not I'm fine, not it's not that bad, but the truth. I see the ache, I feel the heaviness. I know you've been in pain. Your soul needs to hear, I'm sorry. Sorry for pushing so hard. Sorry for ignoring the exhaustion. Sorry for pretending everything was okay when it wasn't. Sorry for abandoning you while chasing things that don't matter. I left you behind. I'm sorry. Your soul needs permission. Permission to feel what it feels without judgment. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to not know what to do. You don't have to be strong all the time. You don't have to hold it together. You can fall apart here with me. Your soul needs gratitude, not the shallow kind, the deep kind. Thank you for keeping me alive. Thank you for staying with me even when I wanted to give up. Thank you for breathing when I forgot how. Thank you for not leaving me, even though I left you. And your soul needs recognition. You matter. What you feel matters. You are not too much. You are not too sensitive. You are not broken. You are enough. Exactly as you are. These are not sentences you memorize and repeat. These are invitations. Starting points. The real words will come from you in your own voice, in your own way, but they must be honest. They must be true. If you don't feel it, don't say it. Your soul knows the difference between truth and performance. It always has. Now here's what makes this different from thinking. When you think, it's circular. The mind loops. It argues with itself. It goes over the same problem 1,000 times without resolution. Thinking is like being trapped in a room with a recording that plays endlessly. No matter how much you think, nothing moves. But speaking is different. Speaking is directional. It moves from you toward something. Even if that something is your own inner being, when you speak to your soul, you are creating a witness. You are bringing what is inside into the space between. And in that space, something shifts. The feeling that was trapped becomes expressed. The pain that was locked becomes released. The truth that was hidden becomes visible. Your soul cannot heal what you refuse to name. Imagine trying to clean a wound you won't look at. Impossible. You have to see it, acknowledge it, touch it gently. The same is true inside. The wound must be spoken to. I see you. You exist. You are real. Speaking gives form to what has no form. Pain, fear, grief, shame. These are not solid things. They are energies, currents, vibrations in your being. But when they stay silent, they become heavy. They take up space. They harden into walls. The moment you speak them, they begin to move. Not because speaking fixes them, but speaking allows them to breathe. Let me give you an image. Imagine a garden that has never felt rain. You can describe rain to the garden. You can tell it about water, about nourishment, about growth. But until the rain actually touches the soil, nothing changes. The garden doesn't need the idea of water. It needs the water itself. Your soul is the same. It doesn't need ideas about healing. It doesn't need theories about growth. It needs the actual expression, the actual speaking. The rain of your voice falling on the dry soil of your heart. That's when things begin to grow again. So how do you begin? You find a moment of privacy, a space where you won't be interrupted. It doesn't have to be long. Even 5 minutes is enough. You sit, you breathe, and then you speak, out loud or silently. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you direct your words inward. Like speaking to someone sitting across from you, someone you care about deeply. You start simple. I'm tired. Just that. Feel it. Say it. Not to complain, but to acknowledge. I've been tired for a long time. Then go deeper. I've been carrying this alone. Say what it is. Name it. I've been afraid. I've been hurting. I've been pretending. Whatever is true right now, say it. You don't need perfect words. You don't need it to sound beautiful. Your soul doesn't care about poetry. It cares about honesty. Stumble through it. Let the words be messy. Let them be broken. That's real. That's what heals. And here's the most important part. Don't wait for an answer. Don't expect your soul to respond with words or solutions or clarity. That's not how this works. You're not asking your soul to fix you. You're not demanding guidance. You're simply completing the communication. You're saying what has never been said. And in that saying, the healing begins. The response will come, but not in words. It will come as a lightness, a softness, a sense of relief, like something that was tight has loosened, like a breath you didn't know you were holding, you finally release. That's your soul responding, not with language, but with peace. Now let's talk about why this feels so hard. Because it does. Even though it's simple, even though it's natural, something in you will resist. You'll sit down to speak to your soul, and suddenly you'll feel awkward, uncomfortable, like you're doing something wrong. That resistance is real, and it's important to understand where it comes from. The first reason this feels hard is fear. You're afraid of what will come out if you start speaking honestly. You've spent years keeping certain feelings locked away. You've built walls around them. You've told yourself they're not that bad, or they're in the past, or they don't matter anymore. But deep down, you know they're still there. And speaking to your soul means letting them surface. What if you start crying and can't stop? What if the anger is bigger than you thought? What if the sadness is so deep it swallows you? What if you discover that you're more broken than you wanted to admit? These fears are why most people never begin. It feels safer to leave things unsaid, safer to keep the door closed. But safety is not the same as healing. Safety is just another word for staying stuck. The second reason is shame. You carry shame about your feelings, shame about being weak, shame about still hurting from things that happened years ago, shame about not being over it yet. The world tells you to move on, to be positive, to focus on gratitude. And here you are, still carrying pain, feeling broken. There's shame in that. And shame grows in silence. When you speak to your soul, you have to say the things you're ashamed of feeling. I'm still angry at them. I still miss what I lost. I still feel like I'm not enough. Saying these things out loud, even to yourself, feels like admitting failure, like confessing weakness. But shame only has power when it stays hidden. The moment you speak it, it begins to lose its grip. The third reason is loneliness. This is the most intimate act you will ever do. You're meeting you. No one else can be there. No one else can do this for you. No teacher, no guide, no loved one can speak to your soul on your behalf. This is between you and the deepest part of yourself. And that feels lonely. You've been taught that healing happens through connection with others, through sharing, through being heard by someone else. And yes, that matters. But there's a deeper healing that only happens in solitude. When you face yourself, when you speak to the part of you that only you can reach, that loneliness is not emptiness. It's wholeness beginning to reveal itself. Now let me tell you what actually happens when you begin to speak to your soul. At first, it feels awkward, like talking to a stranger. You don't know what to say. The words feel forced. You feel silly. You wonder if you're doing it right. That's normal. You've been silent with yourself for so long. The language feels foreign, but stay with it. Then comes the resistance. Your mind will try to pull you away. It will tell you this isn't working. It will remind you of tasks you need to do. It will create urgency around things that aren't urgent. This is the ego protecting itself. Because when you speak to your soul, the ego loses control. The stories it tells, the defenses it built, the masks it wears, all of that becomes transparent. And the ego doesn't want to be seen. Push through the resistance. Keep speaking. Even if it feels like nothing is happening, even if the words feel empty, you're not speaking to get a result. You're speaking to complete what was incomplete, to honor what was ignored, to be present with yourself in a way you haven't been before. Then something shifts. The awkwardness begins to fade. The words start to flow more naturally. And suddenly, without warning, something rises. Maybe tears, maybe anger, maybe a grief so deep you didn't know it was there. This is not a breakdown. This is a breakthrough. The dam is cracking. What was held is beginning to move. Don't stop it. Don't control it. Don't try to make it neat or manageable. Let it come. Cry if you need to cry. Rage if you need to rage. Shake if your body needs to shake. Your soul is not fragile. It can hold all of this. It's been holding it in silence for years. Now it's finally being permitted to express. This is the part most people fear, the emotional release. They think if they start, they'll fall apart completely. They think the feelings will be too much. But here's the truth. The feelings are already there, already taking up space, already affecting you. Speaking to your soul doesn't create the pain, it releases it, like opening a sealed room and letting in light and air. What was rotting in darkness can finally breathe. And here's what happens after the release. After the tears stop, after the anger subsides, there's a stillness, a quiet that feels different from the silence you've known. This quiet is not empty. It's full of presence, full of peace, full of something you can't name but you can feel. That's your soul responding, not with words, but with the feeling of being held, of being seen, of finally being home. But the resistance doesn't end after one conversation. You'll sit down the next day to speak again, and the awkwardness returns. The mind tries to convince you that you've already done this, you don't need to do it again, or that nothing really changed, so what's the point? This is the test. Healing is not a one-time event, it's a relationship, a daily practice of including yourself in your own life. Someday, the words will flow easily. Other, da, vis, they won't come at all. That's okay. Some days you'll speak for minutes. On other days, just a few seconds. I'm here, I see you. That's enough. The length doesn't matter. The consists on others. Your soul needs to know you're not abandoning it again. That you're showing up. That this time you're staying, and slowly, over days and weeks, something changes. The heaviness you've carried begins to lighten, not because the circumstances of your life changed, but because you are no longer carrying everything alone. You've included yourself. You've become your own companion. The inner war has ended, and in that ending, healing happens naturally. Like a wound that finally has space to close. Now I will give you the practice. Not as rules, not as steps you must follow perfectly, but as guidance. A map for a journey that only you can take. Remember, this is not a technique to master. This is a conversation to have, and every conversation is different, organic, alive. So take what feels true and leave what doesn't. Your soul will guide you if you listen. First, create the space. You need privacy. Not just physical privacy, but inner privacy. A moment where you're not performing for anyone, not even yourself. This could be early morning before the world wakes, or late at night when everything is quiet. It could be in your car before you go to work, or in your room with the door closed. The place doesn't matter. What matters is that you feel safe enough to be completely honest. Sit down. You don't need a special posture. Just sit in a way that feels natural. Close your eyes if that helps you go inward, or keep them open with a soft gaze. Some people place their hand on their heart. This creates a physical connection to the inner space. It reminds you that you are speaking to something real, something alive inside you. Do this if it feels right. If not, just rest your hands wherever they are comfortable. Now breathe. 3 deep breaths. Not to relax, though that might happen, but to arrive. Most people are never fully present with themselves. They are thinking about yesterday or planning tomorrow. They are commenting on their experience instead of being in it. The breath brings you here, to this moment, to yourself. After the 3rd breath, begin with presence. Say, either out loud or silently, I am here now. Feel the truth of that. You are here with yourself, for yourself. This moment is just for you. Nobody is watching. Nobody is judging. It's just you and your soul present together. Then notice what you feel. Don't change it. Don't fix it. Just notice. Is there tightness in your chest, heaviness in your stomach, exhaustion in your bones? Whatever is there, that's your starting point. That's what I want to be spoken to. Now begin speaking. Address your soul directly, like you're talking to a friend. I want to hear from you. A friend you love deeply, a friend you've neglected. Start simple. Start with what's true right now. I feel tired. Say it. Feel it. Let it be real. Don't follow it with explanations. Don't justify it. Just name it. I'm tired. Then go deeper. I've been tired for a long time. Let that truth land. Feel the weight of it. I've been pushing so hard. I haven't stopped. I haven't rested. Now speak to the feeling. I see you, exhaustion. I feel you. You've been trying to tell me something and I haven't been listening. This is the key. You're not trying to get rid of the feeling. You're acknowledging it, giving it space, letting it be seen. Most people spend their whole lives trying to escape their feelings. But feelings don't need to be escaped. They need to be witnessed. When you witness them with your own voice, they begin to soften. Continue speaking. Say what has never been said. I'm sorry. Mean it. I'm sorry I ignored you. I'm sorry I pushed you aside. I'm sorry I made you carry everything alone. Feel what happens when you say that. Something might crack open. Tears might come. That's good. That's the release beginning. Don't stop the tears. Don't wipe them away quickly. Let them fall. Cry to your soul. Let it see your grief. Let it feel your honesty. Then speak gratitude. Real gratitude. Not the surface kind. The deep kind that comes from recognizing what has been given. Thank you. Say it slowly. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for not giving up even when I gave up on myself. Thank you for every breath, for keeping me alive, for being here. Notice how different this feels from positive affirmations. You're not trying to convince yourself of anything. You are not manufacturing happiness. You are simply telling the truth. And truth, even painful truth, creates space for healing. Now listen. Not for words, not for answers. Just feel what's happening in your body, in your heart. There might be a softness, a warmth, a sense of something loosening. That's your soul responding. It's saying, I hear you. I'm here too. You might want to ask questions. What should I do? How do I fix this? What's the answer? Don't, not yet. This is not problem solving. This is presence. Stay in the feeling. Stay in the connection. The answers will come later, in their own time. For now, just be here. If you feel resistance, speak to that too. I feel awkward doing this. I don't know if I'm doing it right. This feels strange. That's honest. That's real. Your soul doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be honest. Some days you'll have a lot to say. The words will pour out. Other days you'll sit down and only manage a few sentences. I'm here. I see you. That's all I have today. That's enough. The practice is not about how much you say. It's about showing up. Your soul doesn't measure quantity, it feels present. Make this a daily practice, even 2 minutes, every morning or every night. At the same time, if possible, it becomes a ritual, something your soul can expect, something you do for yourself, the way you brush your teeth or make your coffee, non-negotiable. Not because you have to, but because this is how you honor yourself. What should you say? Here are some starting points, but these are just doorways. Walk through them in your own way. I see how hard you've been trying. I know you're scared, and that's okay. I forgive you for the mistakes you think you made. You don't have to be perfect. I am proud of you for surviving. I am sorry for the times I wasn't there for you. Thank you for feeling even when it hurts. I am listening now. What do you need? Let the words be messy. Let them be imperfect. Let them come out broken if that's how they come. Your soul doesn't care about eloquence. It cares about truth. Stammer through it. Stumble through it. That's real. That's what heals. And remember this. You're not asking your soul to fix you. You're not demanding solutions. You're not treating this like therapy, where you talk about your problems and expect answers. This is different. This is communion. This is the act of being present with yourself without an agenda, without trying to change anything, just being, just speaking, just honoring what is. Over time, something beautiful happens. This stops feeling like a practice and starts feeling like a relationship. You begin to check in with yourself throughout the day, not just during your dedicated time. How are you right now? What do you need? It becomes natural, automatic, like breathing. You'll notice when you're tired before you collapse. You'll feel when something is wrong before it becomes a crisis. You'll sense what's true before your mind talks you out of it. This is what happens when you maintain the dialogue. You become fluent in the language of your own being. And here's the profound part. Speaking to your soul changes how you speak to others. You become more honest, more direct, less afraid of being seen, because you've already been completely seen by yourself. There's nothing left to hide, nothing left to perform. You speak from fullness, not from need. People will notice the change in you without knowing what changed. They'll say you seem lighter, more peaceful, more present. They won't know that you've been having a conversation with yourself every day, that you've been healing the split, that you've come home. This is the practice. Simple but profound, not easy but necessary. Your soul has been waiting for this, waiting for you to speak, waiting for you to show up, waiting for you to finally say, I'm here, I see you, and I'm not leaving again. Begin today, right now if you can. Place your hand on your heart, close your eyes, and say the first true thing that comes. That's enough to start. The rest will unfold on its own. Healing doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It doesn't arrive with fireworks or dramatic revelations. It comes quietly, like dawn. You don't notice it at first. Then one day, you realize something has shifted. The weight you carried for so long feels lighter. Not gone, but different, softer, more manageable. That's when the conversation has begun to work. The first thing you notice is in your body. That tightness in your chest that you thought was permanent begins to ease. Not all at once, But gradually, you take a breath and it goes deeper than before. You wake up one morning and the heaviness that usually greets you is softer. You move through your day and realize you're not clenching your jaw. These are small things, but they're everything. Healing looks like this. Moments where you feel lighter without knowing why. Mornings where you don't dread getting out of bed. Nights where your mind doesn't race until you collapse. You start to feel space inside yourself. Room to breathe. Room to be. The inner crowding begins to clear. Then the emotional shifts come. The things that used to trigger you still come up, but they don't hook you the same way. Someone says something critical, end instead of spiraling. You feel it, acknowledge it, and let it pass. Not because you have become numb, but because you are no longer at war with yourself. When you are at peace inside, the outside world loses its power to shake you. You cry more easily, but not from pain, from release, from relief, from the simple act of being present with yourself. Sometimes you cry for no reason at all, just sitting quietly, tears come. That's old pain leaving, old grief moving. Things that have been stuck for years are finally finding their way out. Let them go. Don't question it. This is your body healing itself. And you laugh more. Real laughter. Not the forced kind, not the polite kind, but the kind that bubbles up from somewhere deep. Because when you're no longer using all your energy to hold yourself together, joy has space to exist. Healing doesn't just release pain, it makes room for everything that was buried beneath it.